Welcome back. Today I am so excited to share the third episode of my series Gluten Free Guides, where I'm sharing my experience of all the different countries and cities I've been to with celiac disease. Today I am sharing about my experience living in Playa del Carmen, Mexico for a month back in March of 2022. And this was actually the third international country that I've been to with celiac disease after my diagnosis in November of 2021. If you're planning a gluten-free trip to Mexico or you're just interested in learning more about celiac travel, this video is for you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. In 2021, I was diagnosed with celiac disease at 23 years old. I had a really hard time processing this major life change, and I thought I couldn't do the things I loved, like traveling. But I've been determined to continue to live life to the fullest, and since my diagnosis, I've been able to travel to 21 countries. Now I plan on traveling all around the world and finding the best gluten-free food along the way.
We were in Mexico for a whole month and really got to explore and adventure everywhere, to the beaches, to cenotes, to new wonders of the world. We had an amazing time. I also want to make a quick disclaimer that I visited in March of 2022 and I'm currently recording in September of 2023. Therefore, things may have changed over the past year, but I still believe that Mexico is a must visit to travel with celiac disease. Overall, I would say I found great, authentic, gluten-free food all over the city. But I do want to note that it was a little bit harder than I expected to find celiac safe gluten-free food. Since corn, beans, and vegetables are staples of different Mexican dishes, I thought it would be super easy, but when I actually explained my condition and the risk of cross-contamination to different restaurants, different servers, different managers, they were all very cautious about what I was going to order, and they highly recommended to not get corn tortillas in certain circumstances because they live very close to the wheat tortillas in the different kitchens. This is a generalization. I cannot speak for all restaurants, but that is definitely a risk that I was not aware of. So be careful about anything that involves corn tortillas and definitely eliminate the risk of cross-contact. In these circumstances where I couldn't eat, I was usually able to get fajitas. I was just very careful of the sauces. And as always, my usual tips for traveling with celiac disease include packing snacks, especially granola bars. I couldn't find any good gluten-free ones in Mexico. Booking your gluten-free meal ahead of time, getting a gluten-free translation card, and learning some of the local language. If you watched the gluten-free guide to Barcelona, Spain, we went over some of these same words in Spanish, but I will remind you here in my very not great Spanish. Sin gluten is gluten-free, trigo is wheat, and celiaca, celiac. Now to my favorite part of every guide, restaurants. Since we were here for a month, you would think I ate at a lot of different restaurants, but we ended up finding our favorite ones and really connecting with the owners, so we just kept going back and back again. So first off, Osteria de Roma was literally right next to our Airbnb. I think we had to cross one street to go there, so it was also really convenient. It was delicious Italian food, and I will say it again, Italian food is one of the easiest genres of food to find around the world. They were able to accommodate my celiac disease and cook my gluten-free pasta in a separate area. Definitely get the carbonara if you go. Next up is the Cachapa Factory, which is a Venezuelan restaurant that we went to very often. It is family run and the owners were so sweet and very accommodating to my celiac disease. Even though they had a small kitchen, they really assured me that they were taking all the necessary protocols to avoid cross-contact and cross-contamination. We had so many delicious arepas while we were there and dessert. Next up is Mercado 174, and I have to give this place a shout out because I had really good fajitas here, but this is where Celiac Sarah Explores was kind of born. I was really disappointed that I couldn't get the same meal KJ got. I believe it was some form of enchilada and huge skillet with a bunch of tortillas and chips.
I'm feasting.
KJ's not sin gluten.
Not sin gluten.
And the servers at the restaurant were very kind and very strict with me. They did not feel that it was safe for me to eat that same meal, which I really appreciate. But I was definitely disappointed and felt so isolated and alone. And I felt like in that moment, I realized I probably am not alone. So that's where I kind of decided to commit to sharing my gluten-free travels with you and connecting with other gluten-free travelers. Anywho, that main strip also has a multitude of different restaurants. We also checked out Karen's and I got gluten-free fajitas there as well. We also did a few day trips to Cozumel, which is this gorgeous island right off of Playa del Carmen. The ferry is super easy and there is some great snorkeling over there. You absolutely have to go. And there are a lot of restaurants on the island, so in the many times that we went, we ended up going to Frida's. So we went to Frida's restaurant and bar for a few nights in a row because we got really close with one of the servers there who was super knowledgeable about celiac disease and cross-contamination, so I was able to have shrimp tacos every time. For the 4 weeks that we were in Playa del Carmen, we stayed in a gorgeous Airbnb, but as we were trying to leave and visit our next country, there's a whole story behind this. We were essentially delayed 2 days and had to stay in Cancun until we could get our next flight out. Therefore, we ended up staying in a Westin that actually really accommodated my celiac disease, and it was a nice comparison to see what the resort side of Mexico can be like for celiacs. We stayed at the Westin Laguna Mar Ocean Resort Villas and Spa in Cancun. There are lots of restaurants on the property, but I was specifically accommodated at Oceano for breakfast one morning. It was fabulous. The chef in the back literally cooked me gluten-free pancakes from scratch, and I was able to have a bunch of fruit and different omelets. I literally got a whole buffet of breakfast just for myself, and the chefs even came out from the kitchen and took a picture with me. I really wish I had it to share with you, but it lives in my memory forever. I also ate dinner at the Duna Sports Bar for multiple nights. I even had gluten-free pizza. They were incredibly accommodating. And that's it for restaurants because we did do a lot of grocery shopping and cooking while we were there. We had this gorgeous Airbnb with a huge kitchen and we cooked everything from nachos to omelets. We cooked a lot and it was absolutely delicious. Our Airbnb was really close to a Walmart, which was really familiar for different gluten-free brands. I really wasn't expecting the Walmart in Mexico to be so different from the one in the US, but they honestly carried pretty different options.
Gotta read every package. Think it's good?
So it was a bit of a challenge and it wasn't our home grocery store, so things kept moving. So it was a bit difficult, but they had plenty of gluten-free options and it was an overall pretty easy experience. I hope this convinced you to visit Playa del Carmen or helped you plan your trip there. If you liked this guide, subscribe and make sure you turn notifications on so you don't miss the next gluten-free guide. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next week.